Okay, this is a very important segment we're going to talk about. Bullying. It's prevalent throughout Long Island. It's prevalent throughout our society. Sadly, we read about teens taking their own life due to bullying. It's happened here in Long Beach in the last few years. Two students at Long Beach High School took their own life, one in middle school, one in high school. Both were bullied, and it's a subject we talk about, and we're going to keep talking about to raise awareness. And we're thrilled to have an unbelievable panel. We have to my right Anissa Moore, our city council member. To her right, we have Brandon Ellis, one of our staff members who does the music and the science fiction. To my left, we have our new staff member, Candace King, who's a life coach and a health coach. And we have Mayor Minch, who does the business segment. And I'm going to start with Anissa Moore, city council member. And Anissa, it's a huge problem, and let's get your thoughts on preventing bullying. In your opinion, what needs and what should be done?
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, I'm just really happy to be a part of this conversation because bullying is a serious issue. It's not just a local issue. This is a national issue. I think it's important for all of our viewers out there to understand that bullying can come in very, very different forms. Bullying can be emotional, but bullying can also be in the form of verbal abuse. But bullying can also be something that's physical. But also it affects us psychologically because it's about power. Bullying is about power. Someone is trying to take power away from someone else, and as a result, this individual begins to feel that they are less than. So it's an attack on another person's self-image, an attack on someone else's self-esteem, to the point where this can actually push a young person to the point of suicide. And so it's important that we talk about bullying so that people understand what it is. But then secondly, that we begin to move forward with awareness. Awareness is key if we're going to fight this very difficult battle in terms of saving our young people, saving our children as a result of bullying. What can we do? We can, as parents have to begin to have the conversation with your child about bullying. We have to have that conversation. We have to ask the question, what's happening at school? Are you making friends? Are you struggling with making friends? Have you in any way encountered some challenges along the way? Is someone in some way challenging you or personally attacking you on your way home? We also have to talk about cyberbullying, because cyberbullying is one of the most powerful tools that individuals are using against our children. And that means that as a parent, I have to monitor what's taking place on my child's Facebook page, on my child's Instagram page, on Snapchat, every platform. I need to know what's happening in terms of how is my child being treated on this platform. But in the same way, I also need to find out, is my child the person that's doing the bullying? Right? That means I also need to be responsible as a parent to make sure that it's not my child that's engaging in these acts towards another child. We also have to continue to keep constant communication with our school district. We have an amazing school district. When you walk into the buildings, you see that it says, this is a non-bullying zone. We don't allow for bullying to take place here, but we know that bullying still takes place, which means that we have to keep the communication with our teachers, with our administrators, because this is critical. And in order for us to do that, communication is key. And then lastly, we all, as adults, we have to watch our words. What are we saying within on a daily basis that really supports an environment where we put people down, okay? When we ridicule people, where we personally attack people, because again, our children are watching.
Well said. Candace, let's talk about your experiences that you dealt with from your early days of elementary school on up. What did you have to go through in your time in school?
just taunting in the hallways, taunting in the classrooms. I remember being beat up outside of the playground after hours. I was told that we couldn't do anything because it was after hours. So nothing got done. The teacher ignored it. I can remember just a feeling of hopelessness. I mean, you going to these teachers and you're going for help and you're being ignored. And they're telling you, don't worry about it. Ignore it, it'll go away. And over time it just progressed and progressed and progressed. I can remember being in the gym. I used to work out. I was 13 years old and I was in the weight room. And I was done and I went into the girls' locker room and there was a boy behind me across the gym with a bow in his hand and an arrow in it. And he pointed at me. I turned around, he called my name. I went into the locker room, I went around the corner, and that arrow hit the bulletin board right outside of the door. I went to the teacher. I said, so-and-so did this. He said, oh, I didn't see it. He didn't do anything. I remember going home to my parents and saying, I need help. They ignored me. I can remember my mother saying, you must be doing something to deserve it. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? I got to high school and I went to the principal. I'll never forget her. Her name was Linda Axelrod, and she was there for me the entire time. A boy wrote me a really, really disgusting letter, and I took it to her. I ran to the English room. I made copies of a homework assignment, and I brought it back. And I circled all the similarities in the handwriting. And I took it to her, and I said, hey, if he didn't do it, I don't know who did. And she called his mother in. She was sobbing and crying, and she didn't know what to do with herself. Apologizing to me, and I just told her, I said, you better tell your son to stop doing whatever he's doing. And I was almost done with school anyway. I believe I was in 11th grade at that time, maybe 12th grade. You know, I was almost done, but I just wanted her to know what her son was doing. And at my graduation, I remember looking down at her, and that woman was crying in tears, regretful and sad and sorry. So we not only have to look at the victims here, we have to look at the bullies. Why are they bullying? What is going on in their life? And what can we do to intervene to stop it? Because that's the source of the bully. We can take care of the victims, but in order to stop the bullying, we need to look out for warning signs from bullies. And it needs to be stopped before it gets out of hand. And this guy right here, I'm gonna hand over the mic.
Yes, for me, my name is Mayor. I do the local business report on the show, but that's a segment for fun, but this is a segment for seriousness. For me, it started in 3rd grade. I was in 3rd grade, just moving into Long Beach. I'm from Flushing, New York, Flushing, Queens, but moving into Long Beach. Within 2 weeks of my time at Long Beach High School, Long Beach Lindell Elementary School, I remember my principal at the time, Linda Paris, Mrs. Paris. Not too many people at the school supported her leadership and judgment on the bullying on bullying. In 3rd grade, I was pushed a flight of stairs and ended up in a coma for 3 weeks. I was rushed. It was a cold winter here in Long Beach. We had almost snow here in Long Beach. February 3rd, 2 days before my grandmother's birthday. rushed to Long Beach Medical Center, which was operating at the time back in 2000. They transferred me to the hospital that I grew up in, is North Shore, LIJ in Manhasset. I was bullied severely, like tremendously. Going from Long Beach, Lindell School, got bullied in, not so much in Lido School, West School I was bullied a lot. Long Beach Middle School, Long Beach High School. It was very difficult being a victim, and I send my condolences to all victims out there and showing them that I support you and I know what you're going through. I mean, when it comes to cyberbullying, I've never had that because in 2009, cyber and social media was just getting out with MySpace during the time. Facebook was something new, like Snapchat, how it is. Snapchat is now today. It's brand new, fresh in the market. I was severely bullied in middle school as well. I'm not proud to say, but I'm gonna say this because it just happened to me 10 years ago. I was in self-contained classes. I was not part of the regular mainstream classes, and I was bullied severely because being in self-contained, being in special education system, it's frowned upon throughout your colleagues at high school, and they look at it's like a learning disability. Yes, I had a learning disability, but at the same time, I grew up, and look at me now. Like I overcame so much. Graduation, class of 09, we're about to celebrate 10 years next year. That it was very difficult for me to say that, like, and nobody clapped for me. Just my immediate family was there, and I want to give a shout out to, I think, if not, he is Long Beach High School's best principal in history, Nicholas J. Restivo. He was a principal that was pro-student and pro-bullying, meaning he didn't support bullying, but he was active in it. That he knew that this was a zero-tolerance school, and this is a bully-free zone. I got bullied throughout 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. I remember in 10th grade I was sitting in the cafeteria. Some kid started playing, throwing stuff in my food, and I threw something back at him. He took a big orange, the orange was open, threw it directly in my face, and the school blamed me. The school blamed me that I was the suspect and not the victim. And a lot of what I want to say is that if you're listening to this video, and I assure you, please share this video. Please share it with your heart out. Give your heart out to this video. That you're not alone. You are there with people. People from the past, present is with you in the same situation as you. And I believe, let's say the city council should get involved more in saying, okay, we should make this a law. If you're going to bully, it should be like a hate crime. There should be a hate crime because you're hating another person. They should be going to juvenile delinquency, or even adults bully. There's adult bullying in the workforce. That there should be a consequence, you will be terminated from your job and you will be sent to the full extent, because you can say whatever you want, but when you target somebody, that's not a part of the freedom of speech. That's targeting somebody. That should be like a threat to somebody and a threat to that person. I feel like me as a high school student, I got bullied and I graduated, and I'm on this wonderful show right now. I thank Howie Appel for bringing me on such an impeccable show. That there's no show in Long Island that is like him, that corresponds to our side. That's informational, entertainment, and inspiration. Howie inspired me to be on the show, and I believe that if there should be a citation or something great for Howie, there should be on his name. But when it comes to bullying, I experienced a lot. And I gotta say that you are not alone. If you want contact, there's always help. If you do see something, please, and I guarantee you, please, if you see something, say something.
Okay, thanks for sharing. And Brandon Ellis, you also experienced bullying in your time in elementary and middle school, high school.
Yeah, Howie, unfortunately, I had to be a victim of that, but it's not just me. It's been plaguing society for, you can't even calculate. It's been so prevalent in our society, and it's evolved. You had the typical, more physical bullying that has been looked upon downly, and we're doing everything we can to stop that. But it's evolved to more cyberbullying, or even more subtler cues with bullying that could really affect one's psyche, one's self-esteem. I look back at myself and my own experiences. Mayor, you spoke about special education being judged for that. Now, I grew up with learning disabilities and things of that nature, so I was part of a special ed program myself, and I knew I was different, and I didn't want to let that get to me too much. I tried to interact with people. Unfortunately, people did see a difference in me. They thought I was off, I was weird, and to an extent, I was neglected, and to an even greater extent, I was in fact bullied. There was one instance in elementary school. It was pretty bad. I went to the bathroom, as one does. I don't need to explain that. And a kid, I didn't even know the kid. He just saw me, and he saw a difference in me. He pinned me down to like a stall, slapped me, choked me. It was very traumatic. It really got to me. I didn't feel safe, just because I was a certain way. And in middle school, I mean, I didn't face anything as extreme as that ever again, but I had things thrown at me. I had names. I was called names. And it's just unfortunate. Again, at the age of middle school, everyone's a bit immature, but you can't give too much of the benefit of the doubt. The way to really prevent bullying is through education. Not only education in how to prevent it, but what are the signs? It's so easy for someone to be a bully. You could just say one thing and it could really crush a person's spirit. You always had to be careful about what you say to other people. I have a personal policy: treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat people with respect and integrity, regardless of who they are. It's simple, but it's apparently hard for a lot of people. I look back and I'm not proud to say, but I can remember 2 instances, probably around middle school age, where I did see myself going into the realms of bullying myself. And it was talked about before in this panel about power. I think I just wanted to feel sort of on top. Again, I wasn't the extreme bully or anything, but I said a few things, and I regret it to this day. You need to treat people with respect. It's simple, but I wish people knew more about it, but that's all I can really say here.
Yeah, one point I want to bring up is I feel a big aspect of bullying is if a child is different in any way, it gets open to bullying. If a kid is overweight, kid is gay, kid dresses differently. I remember a situation here in Long Beach where he was a new kid in school, and just because he was a new kid in school, he was bullied. He was actually on our show, and bullying takes all forms. I remember I was at General Brew a couple weeks ago, and I was reading the New York Post. I was with Rocco, and I read a story, and it's probably common throughout the United States, but this story, it just really impacted me. It was about this girl. She's a student athlete. She goes to Canisius College, upstate, and her parents found out that she had a girlfriend. The parents reacted in a certain way where they immediately cut off her funding from school. They ordered her brothers and sisters to refrain from communicating with her. And they basically disowned her from the family just because they found out that she was gay. And to me, and I saw a post on Facebook, during the day before Thanksgiving, and somebody posted that, how many thousands of children cannot spend Thanksgiving with their family because they're part of the LGBT community and that parents don't accept them because they're gay. And it's just heartbreaking. And it's so heartbreaking that a child, just because she's gay, has been disowned by her parents. And I think that's one of the big issues in our society and these.
Yeah. First of all, I think this is something that I'm so happy that you shared and talked about the seriousness of that and what happens when you are a child and you identify as a member of the LGBTQ community. There are many children, like you said, that will not be able to go home for holidays. There are many children and teenagers and also young adults that lose a complete community. They lose a support network because of their orientation. And so again, this means that all of us as members of the community, we have to extend ourselves to all of those individuals. We have to find and seek out opportunities where we can become a part of their community so that we can lend support. And that means inviting someone to your home, inviting someone for a cup of coffee, but being that family that so many of our young people, for whatever reason, do not have. I think that it's important for us, and as we talk about what can we do as a city, I'd love to see something that we do on campus. As a college professor at Nassau Community College, I chair what we call the Civility Project. I've been doing that since 2009, and I believe that we need to have a Civility Week or month right here in the city of Long Beach where we extend ourselves to others, where we try to demonstrate empathy, that we put ourselves in someone else's shoes, so that we can really have acts of compassion towards other people that we might think are different or feel that they are different. That we should look at difference as an opportunity, as something that's unique and beautiful, not seeing difference as something that in any way is deficient or something that's lacking. And I think we as a community have to have that conversation. Secondly, I think it's important that we may need to have a conversation about creating what we call an anti-bullying policy. On campus, college campuses across the country and universities, we have what we call an anti-bullying policy, where when you have certain acts, you do have to do community service. You do have to see someone to talk about your anger and how you manage that anger, and how you lash out at other people, because it's important that people do understand that this behavior cannot be tolerated. And so I think it's important for us, and we may have to have that conversation, that we may need to have an anti-bullying policy here in the city of Long Beach and use our city as a model city so that other cities and other towns and villages across Nassau County and across New York State will even make the same consideration. This is about saving people's lives, and I think we have to really take this seriously. And if it takes a policy to do, then we need to do that. But we also understand that a policy is a first step. Changing people's hearts is another step. And so that means that there's a lot of work for us to do right here. And it hurts my heart that any child would grow up knowing that they're afraid, that they feel it in the pit of their stomach as soon as they enter into a classroom. Because a classroom is someplace that's supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be a safe environment for all children. Or getting on the school bus is supposed to be safe. Or going into a store and seeing other members of your class and not feeling safe. No one should have to have that feeling. And so whatever we can do to make those changes, I'm committed to doing that. I know that there are so many other residents that are right here in our city that are also committed to doing this, because we're tired of seeing our young people hurt. The hurting has to stop. The healing has to begin. And the healing has to begin with us. taking steps that when we see something, we need to step up. If you're a young person, you can no longer be a bystander to it. You have to say something. I know for a fact that I've witnessed people being bullied from the time that I was young, because it's been, as you said before, in existence forever, but it was different. And meaning that I remember seeing a young person being bullied because he was a special education person, and I remember lashing out at the bully saying, you can't do this, because I wanted to protect that individual. We need more people that will stand up and protect those that cannot speak out for themselves. All of us have to make a commitment to become advocates for others, and that means on every level. If you are seeing children coming down the street and you see the bullying, and you know this is one of your neighbors, you need to step up now and break silence and say enough is enough. You cannot do that. You cannot use this language. This will not be tolerated. And so in other words, we have to have a no, we're not going to tolerate within our city, and I think that would make a difference.
Absolutely. I know Mayor wanted to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple of things, like how Brandon said, like, don't treat people how you want to be treated, and treat people with the kindness and the respect and the dignity that they deserve. And also my personal thing, it's okay to be different. It's okay. I mean, it's 2018, and being different is actually better than being normal, because when you're different, you're showing what you can bring to the table, what you can bring to the world. It's okay to be different, and don't think that you're alone. You have, like, if you ever wanted to contact us at the Halftime Howie show, you have us. We're not professionals, but we are here to help you, the viewers of the show. And I wanted to say, like, please, if you do see something, say something. Like, even in the LGBTQ community, I don't think if I'm allowed to say this, but I will share this out there. I have a cousin that is a transgender. And I don't want to say what part of my family, but, like, she is right now, her parents are accepting of her, and her parents are very supportive. Yes, it's hard. It's hard when you lose a son but gain a daughter, or when you lose a daughter and gain a son. But if it was my shoes, and if my son or daughter were to become gay, lesbian, transgender, yes, it would hurt me, but I would never, in no circumstance, underestimate my daughter or my son, because that is being a parent. You have to love. You have to put the word love over hate, because hate is very like dangerous, but love is more powerful than hate. Remember, don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to show what you can bring to the world.
But we also have to remember that some of these bullies are actually being bullied themselves.
It's true.
Yes.
And there should be more programs in the school that allow the kids to go, because we don't know what's going on in the bully's life. I don't mean to care about the bully or anything, but that's the root of the problem. What's going on with them in their lives for them to be doing all of this stuff to other people? They need support, and with them supporting them and making sure that they're okay, then those other children that are different, that there won't be a problem. You gotta stop it at the source.
Yes.
You can try with, like tactics and say, well, we're gonna punish you if you do X, Y, and Z, but there's a deeply rooted problem if a kid is going and taunting and pushing and kicking and pointing weapons at and throwing objects at and kicking somebody else. You have a problem. We have to also look at the fact that they're children too. Their brains are not fully developed. The frontal cortex of the brain, the consequence side, is not fully developed yet, and that needs to be addressed with the fact that what's going on in the house of their child. There needs to be counseling. And when you stop it at the source, and you stop it everywhere, you can't we can look at the victims, we can take care of the victims. Well, there won't be any victims if we stop it at the source.
Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this segment. We've got to keep moving, but I want to thank Mayor Minch for his contributions, Candace King, Councilwoman Anissa Moore, Brandon Ellis, and the last thing I want to say to close this segment. I had this idea years ago, and I want to bring it up to Anissa because she's on the City Council. And it's something unique to Long Beach that we can take advantage of our beautiful beaches and boardwalk and make a profound statement about bullying. And this is my idea. At the beginning of the next school year, we should have a massive anti-bullying pledge where every student, every administrator, every bus monitor, everyone in the Long Beach School District, from elementary all the way through high school, joins hands on the boardwalk, holds hands from one end of the boardwalk all the way to the other, every single person in the Long Beach School District, and does a anti-bullying pledge. I think that would be a very powerful, profound statement. What do you think, Anissa?
I think it's an excellent first step. Earlier this year, because I'm committed to anti-bullying, I actually had an anti-bullying summit at the library in September because I just wanted to hear from some of our young people. I wanted to hear their voices to see what they had to say. And I found exactly what you shared. There are so many young people who would love to be a part of a movement and make a great statement like that. So I definitely would love to work with you and work with the school district to make something like this happen, but we have to take a step. And I think that would be a powerful first step.
All right, so I threw it out there, and I would be so thrilled, Denise, if we can make that, get it out there today, and hopefully someday it will be a reality. But again, thanks to Mayor and Candace and Brandon. Not only did you guys share, but you shared very painful personal experiences. You spoke from the heart. Anissa added a great perspective as a not only politician, but a teacher and a concerned resident. So it was a great perspective, and I want to thank everyone who shared for a really, really powerful, riveting segment. So thanks to the entire panel.
Thank you.